This video is brought to you by Happy Death Day to You, in theaters on February 13th.
Want to watch a scary movie? Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 teen horror movies.
What if we were not meant to get off that plane? What if it still is our time?
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we'll be looking at horror films where the main characters are in their teens or early 20s, and or that attract a mostly young adult demographic. We're narrowing it down by only considering one film per franchise. Number 10, Final Destination. After falling asleep on a plane that's about to depart on a class trip, Alex Browning, played by teen heartthrob Devon Sawa, has a horrific vision of the future.
I just had a vision of my own horrible fiery death.
In a panic, he tries to warn everyone and is dragged off screaming. A couple of his classmates are kicked off with him. Sure enough, the plane explodes, and it seems he and his fellow survivors have escaped death. Or have they? Turns out Alex wasn't supposed to see Death's plans, and the Reaper's out to get his due. They may have avoided a plane crash, but they still have to watch out for bathtubs, buses, trains, and falling signs. Number 9, Sleepaway Camp. In this cult favorite, Angela, a young girl traumatized from a childhood accident that left her father and brother dead, and her cousin Ricky are sent to Camp Arawak for the summer. She's bullied because of her shy nature, but there are at least a few people who treat her well, including her counselor Susie and fellow camper Paul.
I'm really sorry about what happened to your family.
This is a slasher flick though, so don't expect a Molly Ringwald-esque happy ending. Campers and staff start to be killed in increasingly creative ways, and it all culminates in a shocking twist ending that makes this film a classic.
I know you're going to like that name, won't you, Peter?
Number 8, The Craft.
Now is the time, now is the hour. Ours is the magic, ours is the power.
This is the movie that made teen girls everywhere wish they were witches. Starting at a new school is rough, but outcast Sarah Bailey manages to fall in with a trio of self-proclaimed witches. She is the missing final piece in their coven, and with her they tap into powers like they'd only dreamed of.
Because she's weak!
At first, their magic brings them closer together and helps them, but when the other girls start to get reckless, only Sarah can see that maybe they've gone too far. When murder becomes the name of the game, she wants out of the coven. But you don't just walk away from witchcraft.
Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Number 7, I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Right here and now we take this to our grave.
This, and its sequel I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, were a part of the mid-90s resurgence of the slasher film. After spending the 4th of July celebrating Helen's beauty pageant win, and swapping urban legends at the beach, friends and high schoolers Julie, Ray, Helen, and Barry hit a pedestrian on a lonely stretch of road.
I think he's dead.
In a panic, they dump the body into the sea, and promise to never speak of it again. But a year later, it becomes clear in a big way that someone knows exactly what they did, and is going to make them pay.
What are you waiting for, huh?
Number 6, It Follows.
Don't open the door.
And you thought a regular STI was bad. After having sex with her date, college student Jamie J. Height is horrified to discover that she is the target of a supernatural creature. Invisible to everyone except for the people who have contracted it, the thing doesn't lurk, it doesn't hide or hunt, it follows. And if it catches up to you, well, you don't want to think about that.
Something was gonna follow me.
Constantly looking over her shoulder and trying to outrun it long enough to buy some time, Jay and her friends try everything to stop it for good. With an electrifying soundtrack and a subtly eerie premise, this is one film you're not likely to forget. Number 5, Halloween.
I'm his doctor. You must be ready for him.
The day before the 15th anniversary of his first murder, Michael Myers escapes from a mental institute and makes his way back to his hometown of Haddonfield, Illinois to continue what he started. While his doctor hunts for him, the teenagers of the area have no idea what's coming their way. Soon the mass killer is picking them off one by one. This iconic film helped to kickstart the trend of holiday and occasion-themed horror, while the score is considered one of the best in the genre. The indie movie also established John Carpenter as a horror film legend.
What's the boogeyman?
Number 4. Friday the 13th.
It's gonna storm.
One of the first to follow suit in the trend set by Halloween, Friday the 13th has become just as beloved as the material it was inspired by. A group of teen camp counselors arrive at Camp Crystal Lake, a supposedly cursed camp where a young boy drowned and 2 counselors were murdered over 20 years earlier.
Oh, my sweet, innocent Jason.
With a storm approaching, the new counselors attempt to fix up the cabins, unaware that a killer is in their midst. While the story has very little to do with the title, other than it being the day the counselors arrive, it set the standard for summer chillers, and was at the forefront of the 1980s slasher craze.
Kill her, Mommy! Kill her!
Number 3. Carrie.
He's gonna laugh at you. They're all gonna laugh at you.
The King of Horror's first published novel was also his first adapted film. Stephen King's Carrie tells the story of Carrie White, a much maligned young girl who, upon experiencing her first period, unlocks her latent telekinetic powers.
I concentrate hard enough, I can move things.
Tormented at school by her classmates and abused at home by her fanatically religious mother, Carrie just wants to fit in. Despite being asked to the prom by the most popular guy in school, the first nice gesture she's ever experienced, the bullies can't leave things alone. What they unleash is one of the most iconic scenes in the horror film canon. Number 2. A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Please, God.
This is God.
From horror master Wes Craven came one of the most iconic horror villains of all time, Freddy Krueger. Playing with the audience's sense of reality, the disfigured killer stalks the kids of Elm Street through their dreams. Terrified, Nancy Thompson and her friends search for answers on how to stop Krueger, and in the process unearth a dark secret involving their parents.
We found him in an old abandoned boiler room where he used to take his kids.
The film has been parodied several times, a testament to its enduring enjoyability, and despite its age still holds up as a decent scare fest. Sweet dreams.
I'll strike where you cannot protect them. In their dreams.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
Look, sorry to impose and disrupt, Mr. Furlong, but...
If you kindly take your seats, this will be over quite quickly.
Now sit down!
Number 1. Scream.
Do you like scary movies, Sydney?
Just when audiences thought that horror movies were getting stale, along came Scream. This meta film turned the genre on its head, with characters who were aware of the tropes and cliches of classic slasher films, yet were still powerless against them.
There's a formula to it. A very simple formula. Everybody's a suspect.
Sydney Prescott and her fellow classmates of Woodsboro High School are menaced by the killer known only as Ghostface. At once a love letter to, send-up of, and perfect execution of a slasher flick, Scream is considered by many to be the film that breathed new life into the genre.
This video is brought to you by Happy Death Day to You, in theaters on February 13th.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.